we saw where the Jamaican government was issued some fertilizers from the Kingdom of Morocco. I think it's about 72,000 free bags of fertilizer. Personally, Rev, how much significant do you think that could have boosted our local production in agriculture had it not been for the mismanagement and the mishandling of the distribution process by this Jamaica Labour Party government? Your personal perspective on it, sir.
Dre, it's a robbery for farmers. We're talking about, when you think about 72 and you think about 63 constituency, you're thinking about 1,400 fertilizer to each constituency. That would have gone a great length. But you're also seeing persons selling these fertilizers that were gifts to our farmers. And when you talk to farmers around the country, one of their biggest challenge is the cost of fertilizer. And so some don't do it out. You go to the farm store, they're actually selling them in what we call retail style. They're selling fertilizer per pound or 2 pounds or stuff like that, because the farmers just can't manage. And this government got something to help the farmers that will ultimately build the economy of our country. And because of I don't know what chronic illness they have, that they will want to always take what is given to our people and given to themselves and make money out of it. We see it with other stuff like Irish potato. They give them to their JLP counterparts and they sell them back to farmers at a higher cost. And so the greatest threat to predatory larceny in this country is the Jamaica Labour Party government that we have now running agriculture ministry.
Totally agree. I think the entire nation can agree with you on that, Rev. Uncle Dino, good morning, sir. Your time. Go right ahead, Dino.
Morning, Sir Blake. No, listening to you speak on the matter of agriculture, and I'm saying, you know, the whole thing needs to a real revolution when it comes to Jamaican agriculture, because when we look at, we have hotels who need foodstuff, good amount of hotels in this island. We have infirmaries, we have hospitals, we have schools. Now, the government has announced a school feeding program. The opposition has announced a school feeding program as soon as they get to power. I guess a project has to be written, how we tie all these things in together. And this is where we need to use up the technical officers rather. They might be understaffed. If we have to staff them, we have to staff them better, because projects are needed. In other words, you mentioned about yam and sweet potato. Sweet potato is grown all over Jamaica, but the sweet potato for export can't come from every parish in Jamaica, because the people abroad prefer the sweet potato coming out of the backside soil, the red soil. And the red soil is not available in all parishes of Jamaica. If you take the potato out coming out of other parishes, when it reach abroad, it's a rejection. They tell them, no, this is not the right stuff. So we have to tie a project in together, and then we have to get, for one of the easiest way I think is to get a certain amount of funding into RADA, which is known as a grant fund, in which the father can set up the project and say, all right, you guys in Clarendon good at growing this. You have a nutrition program for the school in which you know you're going to need. We can't open up, we have factories, the nutrition factories around. You send carrot to these factories, they can make carrot cake. So the children can get a snack from carrot cake or so forth. Potato pudding. And all these things. You mentioned about, Ziggy mentioned about the price of fertilizer, which is one of the biggest component in terms of our farming in Jamaica. When I started investing in agriculture, when I sent in my days, earlier days, it was Antilles, not first hand. And when I sent a trailer to Antilles for a trailer load of fertilizer in the 90s, it cost me 19,000 for a trailer load. Now 19,000 can only buy a bagger. So you see where we're coming from? In the 90s, when I started invest money into agriculture, when I call a driver, and all I have to give Antilles is license plate number for the driver, and when Antilles send me the bill, it comes to about 19,000, something for a whole trailer load. Now 19,000 can only buy one bag. Compare the price of goods then to now. Yes, the price has risen, but can the price compensate you? For example, and I said it earlier, Andre, a lot of us were big exporters of certain products in Jamaica. All of us have to close those farms. Because, all right, I started out exporting solar papayas. I was one of the bigger players of growing massive amounts of solar papayas in Jamaica. Demand for it in Europe is great, in Canada is great, in America is great. Every day we'd have to be on the port sending containers and containers of papaya abroad, making millions of dollars for the country. I started out at $4 a box US. And on the local market, we sell it at $2 a pound. Fertilizer, as I said, a trailer load is about 19,000. No, one bag is 19,000, and the best price you can get for it abroad is about 14 US. And you have to be competing with Costa Rica, who's selling it for 10, Brazil, who's selling it for 8. Market, they might tell you the taste coming out of Jamaica is a little better than Costa Rica and Brazil. But people are going to shop where the pocket can go. So you're forcing the Jamaican farmers out. Our potatoes has not been stable for many years. There's a glutton now, so you realize the price come down for the past 2 weeks. But potatoes up to $300 a pound in the field up to about 2 weeks ago. And when people call them and say they want a 40-foot container of potato, and you call them and tell them the price, they say, oh, we can't do it, we have to take it from another country. We are missing the boat. With organic fertilizers work most of the time more expensive, but farmers can be trained to use up your waste to make organic. But the disadvantage with organic is that most of the time all it provides is nitrogen. The worm again is nitrogen. We call it nitrogen fixation.
Right.
We still need the potassium. Although we think we overuse fertilizer in Jamaica, though, you know, because nobody's doing a soil test, so you don't even know if you need the potassium. We mainly just put in an NPK and just keep applying NPK. Because we don't show what the plant needs. So sometimes you have a overbuilt up of potassium in the soil because we keep applying it. And then phosphate. Sometimes that's why you get so much rooting and grass coming, because the phosphate level is high. We need to equip our radar office where we can get the soil test done and know exactly what fertilizer to apply. If you don't need potassium, just put on.
What we're seeing as well in terms of the zoning of agricultural zoning, know what to plant, where to plant it, where the best things come from. That said, our rather extension officers in Jamaica, the ratio between extension officer to farmer is the largest in the world. I know 4-H have about 30 agriculturalists. I know JAS have their numbers of agriculturalists. What we can do in terms of doing extension service to our farmers is have a collaborative effort where our farmers are best informed, because outside of fertilizer costs, when you go across the country and you talk to farmers, one of the things that they will be the first to tell you is that they want rather to come and tell them about the technical side of the farming. They want to know what to plant, when to plant it, and so on. So farmers are actually hungry and eager to learn about it. But when you have one extension officer to the minimum 4,000 farmers, it's difficult for him to go around. It's difficult for him or her to go around and give technical advice to all of these farmers. So
what I used to do is create regular workshops where you invite, because rather can't find the time. They don't have enough extension officers, so you create workshops and get
put your hand on.
So when they come to the workshop, rather I'll be there to teach them pest management, and fertilizer and contact techniques, all the various techniques that they need. But to sit in at your farm and waiting, and rather to come to tell you about marketing, because only one market officer probably in any parish.
No, I don't think they're saying that they're farm and waiting though. I think if what we're saying, what you're still saying is to have the workshops and stuff. Um, the incoming government in terms of agriculture is at the forefront on our party leaders' agenda. He wants it to be used to drive economy. And so we're going to have these consultation sessions. We're going to have these forums. We're going to have these workshops. And but currently these are not happening enough. And so farmers want they want to learn about what is taking place. The most they will go is like the agricultural show where you have the booths on display and they can learn something. But that is why we have the JAS. That is why the farm groups are there to ensure that farmers are equipped.
JS in most parishes is dead. Most parishes JS is dead. So you have to really depend on, I mean, the bigger farmers have to learn to put on workshop. You can't depend on government for everything, you know. I used to put on a lot of workshops when you write the ministry, get the RADA officers to come to these workshops, invite the farmers out to come to my workshops. It costs them nothing, you provide some refreshment for them, and they come and learn. We have to learn to put back. We look at a country like Guyana. It's the only country in the Caribbean that overproducing. Their import bill is far less than them, more than them export bill.
But when you look at Ghana, you look at the policies that are driving those.
Right. And they can feed themselves. They don't have to import nothing at all. I mean, there's a smaller population than Jamaica, we know, but we have more land space, a lot more land space ready for agriculture than ever. We're not using up our land spaces.
Oh, you're not on sleep, you know?
And besides that, using the land spaces properly is that the present government do not have a good land policies. We are driving the farmers off of the right agricultural land to put up housing scheme. Is the worst thing I've ever seen happening in Jamaica. I used to come to Portmore, certain section of Portmore, to buy every Tuesday and every Saturday to buy thousands of pounds of callaloo to ship abroad.
Jay, take me out.
You come there, you
can't tap and come in a box.
Most of the time, you can only get 300 pounds. I used to buy from the thousands of pounds you used to buy. You can't get 300 because the farmers were pushed off the land and pushed up on the hillside. They can't grow it on the hillside.
Definitely.
It's hard to get the water moving on the hillside. You need pump. That much of them can't afford to buy a pump. When the levels were there with the proper irrigation system, now you push them out and and putting the land to your friend and family to create houses. And we can you say you love Jamaica.
Boy, Dino, may I tell you, Uncle Dino, we hear you loud and clear, and I mean, I can tell that your business have suffered, but still you continue to, do the best you can for our country in terms of agriculture. And we just want to big you up and encourage you to keep it up. Yes, Rev, I'm asking you kindly if you could just grant us another 10 more minutes of your time here with us, sir.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so 10 more minutes, people, with Comrade Blake. So let us use the time wisely. Time is of the essence. Diane Roach, good morning. Can you please turn on your microphone? Your question to Rev, please. Diane, are you there? Going once, going twice. Diane not ready yet. Let me see. Jamaics, walk on, my brother. Good morning, Jamaics.
Blessings to you, my brother J. Brian, and all Jamaicans who are ready for a change. It's been a while being away from the social space, but anyway, good day to you, Mr. Blake. And I've been listening to you, and I must say that I am proud to know that I'm a part of a Jamaican society that has well-thinking Jamaicans are ready for a change, and nobody can ever survive without food. And I'm happy that we're speaking about the food or belly, not the one where the Prime Minister come and laugh at the people saying his belly is full, but we want to fill the Jamaican people's belly. My question to you, given that Jamaica's agricultural trade deficit has nearly doubled from approximately US $578 million in 2017 and over US $1.9 billion in 2022. How will the People's National Party engage youths in science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship to boost the food industry and this impending food crisis that we're about to see? How do you see the People's National Party revolutionizing and bringing dignity and pride to our farmers?
Oh, the first part of the question. Hello?
I know it's a lot, but the
No, but
last.
because I'm on the highway, so the phone chip out in and out sometimes.
Okay, all right. But the main question is, how would the People's National Party engage the youth in terms of science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship to give that sense of understanding why food security is important to this impending food shortage?
Wow, that's a great question, and it's something that we're looking in greatly, because one of the things that we're also talking about in dealing with that is what they take off some things off the importation basket, and we also want to get and how do we do this? We have to have the youth involvement in it, the youth involved in agriculture. As I said earlier, that young people, youth on a whole, will be who will revolutionize the agricultural sector. So it's a great question, and I want everyone to listen to hear clearly that the future of food is not just about farming more. It's about farming smarter, processing better, and using, as you said, science and technology to empower the people, not to replace the people, but to empower them. And under progressive PNP government, we envision food security using food science and technology revolution, grounded in innovation and national pride, because our youth must have that national pride. And so I want to break it down maybe quickly in 5 pillars. So I want to talk about investment in the research and development department. So we want to establish an agricultural research hub, not just in couple parishes, but I want it to be, like across the island. We partner with you, we partner with Case, we partner with Hard Trust. We focus on crop genetics for climate resilience, pest and disease resilience, local feed formation for poultry and livestock, and hydroponics and vertical farming and stuff like that. You understand? Then I spoke earlier about the robotics and smart farming that we want to bring into the 21st century with agro drone. We talk about the robots, we talk about the small irrigation system and stuff like that. 4-H has 14 training centers across this country. Only Portland doesn't have one. 2 is in Kingston and St. Andrew. But 4-H system needs to be developed to give training for modern farming. So 4-H now is doing farming back in the 70s and in the 90s. Those are their training facilities. So we need training facilities that will train. But we also want to have processing zones across parishes, where we talk about the cold storage facilities, the turning products into juice, puree, science labs and stuff like that. But we also want to think about the digital platform, where farmers are engaged, to know the daily prices, connect directly with supermarkets, to collect directly with all of these things. And then we talk about the STEM labs for youth in schools, where they're learning how to use AI for crop yield forecasting and stuff like that. I know it's a mouthful, but I hope you could get something from that.
I just
Yes,
quickly
man.
replied to say brilliant answer, and it seems like we need to have way more conversations. And I also implore you to say continue to do what you're doing and start a pilot project, and
Bless up.
distribute it and let Jamaicans see that young people should care about farming, and our belly I go full because of farm. As Michael
Bless up.
Mann said, grow where you eat and
Thank you,
eat.
Jamaica.
Thank you, Jay Brian. Thank you, Mr. Blake. Bless up.
Bless up.
All right. All right, my brother. Big up yourself. Our final two callers for the morning. Excellence, go ahead. Turn on your microphone, please. You there?
Yeah, man, I'm here. Good morning, Pastor.
Morning.
Just a quick question. With response, or should I say, with what have unfolded recently in the news about what took place at RADA in terms of the fertilizer from Morocco and other previous allegations at RADA. The question I want to ask is, what will an incoming PNP administration be doing to ensure that there is greater accountability at RADA and that it carries out its core mandate, which is to assist and provide technical direction to farmers instead of being a place where political connected persons gain the majority of the benefits that should be equally distributed to farmers irrespective of their political affiliation? That's the first one. And the second one is, in terms of the growing plight we're having where farmlands are being passed over for development of residential development, what do you think will be, or what do you view are the strategies that the PNP will put in place to ensure that the farmlands are no longer being given over for housing development, but are used to ensure that the production of agriculture is driven, especially in a time when 52% of Jamaicans are undergoing food insecurity?
Quickly, I think nothing. I know with a People's National Party government coming in and a Dr. Dayton Campbell at Agriculture, the farmers will be proud, because I have always said, and maybe because we talk regularly about agriculture, that he is actually the farmer's champion. And he's championing for the farmers, and I know that he will put the requisite plans in place to ensure that our farmers are protected, that local productions are protected, and that is something that he has always been championing, that we need to protect our farmers from these unfair competitions of persons who are importing items into the island. And so I know that the Agriculture Ministry will have strong accountability. They will have somebody who is of great integrity, and someone who really from to the core believes in our Jamaican farmers and is fighting for them every day. And so I know that our farm we know is hemorrhaging right now. There are a lot of key positions that have not been filled. There are persons who are leaving in drove and stuff like that. And so we know we're going to go in, we're going to assess, we're going to do an overhaul of RADA if we are to, and we're going to ensure that farmers are getting the support that they need, technical support, that it is not partisan, but the support will be given to our Jamaican farmers to ensure that we can compete with the world. As it pertains to land, that's something that we have been very much talking about, and so one of the things that we're going to do, I'm not going to share everything, is that we're going to ensure that the land titling issue are resolved so that small farmers in Southwest St. Anne, small farmers in St. Mary, small farmers in Westmoreland and farmers on a whole can have a fair chance to grow their crops and to feed their family and to help in feeding the nation. And so we're going to ensure that fertile land, agricultural land, is used for that purpose and that purpose only.
Thank you, Excellence. Big up yourself. And finally, Chrissy, thank you so much for waiting. Go ahead, your question to Reverend Blake.
Good morning, Dre. Thank you for having me. Reverend Blake, I am
Good morning.
West Clarendon Division. I'm a castor oil processor. And I need land to plant the castor